One thing never talked about yet affects everyone is the system. Yes. One thing never talked about yet affects everyone is the system. You see, it's funny how the system operates like everything is normal. And even more interesting, the system wants you to believe that it doesn't exist, yet it exists. Good evening, guys. Thank you so much for joining us again on another exciting Upgrade Live with Mr. Upgrade. I am Mr. Upgrade. I'm super excited to have you join us again on another exciting conversation on the Upgrade Live with Mr. Upgrade. You know, we do this every Sundays from 7 p.m. through to 8 p.m. And we basically get to do four things. Yes. Number one, we get to take your questions. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask your questions and we'll gladly take them. Number two, we get to share with you the Upgrade Mastery tip for the week. And for this week, the Upgrade Mastery tip is the system, right? Number three, we get to connect, network, and bond because we strongly believe that life is all about connecting, networking, and bonding. So we get to do that because we have people who join us from all across the world, and it's important that we get to know ourselves from time to time. And number four is that we get to have fun. Yes, we got to have fun while we do all of this because I strongly believe that if learning is not fun, there is no learning at all. So we got to have fun while we do the Upgrade Live with Mr. Upgrade. So are you excited about this? I'm excited. I don't know about you, but are you excited for this? Because it's going to be fun. It's going to be the time of learning, unlearning, and relearning. And like I always say, whatever you learn with full pleasure, you remember in full measure. So, are you excited? Are you ready? You know, we always begin these conversations with taking questions, and I would love to take your questions if you have them. But should in case you don't have any questions, no problem. We always begin with our basic 5 questions. Now, these 5 questions help us to lay the foundation, help us to set the tone for the conversation. And we're going to begin with that right about now so that we can get into this gist of the system, right? Because there's a lot to unpack on this conversation, the system. Now, you see, what is the system? Question number 1. Let's begin. What is the system? When you hear the system, what comes to your mind? When you hear the system, what exactly does it resonate for you? What is the system? What comes to your mind when you hear the system, right? What does it mean? What does it resonate, right? What does it talk about? What does it insinuate? What does it represent when you hear the system? Tell you what it is. You see, the system, it is a pattern that conditions thinking, speaking, and action. That's the system. It is a pattern that conditions your thinking, your speaking, and your actions. This is the system. In the simplest of definition, it conditions how you think, it conditions how you speak, it conditions how you act. That is the system. The pattern of this conditioning is the system. And you know, lately I've been asking people, what if everything you've always believed is a lie? Have you ever thought about it? What if everything you always believed as true is a lie? What becomes of you? Well, you see, interestingly, the system conditions you to believe some things that you never get to question what you have believed. See this. This is why you need to pay attention to this conversation on the system, so you can know how the system has been in operation in your own life. Because trust me, The Matrix is not just a title of a movie, it's an explanation of the system. So I would encourage you to go watch that movie back in the 90s, The Matrix, Keanu Reeves. Go watch that movie. You will be amazed at what you be unveiled about the system to you. So, question number one, what is the system? The system is a pattern of thinking, speaking, and acting or action. It's a pattern. That's the system. Question number 2. Who's responsible for the system? The answer is people. It's people that come together to put the system together. It's people. You are not responsible for the system. In fact, you only align to the system. But people are responsible for the system. There are certain set of people who have created the system that we are living with today. They were the ones responsible for the system. You know, if you look at the educational system, it's one of the systems that was designed to raise factory workers. And it's still very much operational today. 9 to 5 is an operation of the system. Retiring at 65 is an operation of the system. So there are people who came together to create the system. So people are responsible for the system. Yeah, the real 1% of the 1%. Question number 3. Why the system? Why do we have to talk about the system? Why the system? I'll tell you this. 3 reasons why the system. Number 1, pattern. You know, I always say this, that once is a mistake, twice is a choice, thrice is a pattern. The system is a pattern. The system creates a pattern. The system gives a pattern. Number 2, structure. The system puts in a structure. That's why you see 9 to 5, structure. You see, you go to school, get a job, get married, raise a family, work to 65, retire. Structure. The system gives a structure. Because it has to conform you to that structure. And you see, you are seen as a rebel when you go against the system. It conditions you to be in the system, to be in the structure of the system. That reason why system reward. System either rewards you or punishes you. That's the system. The system either rewards you or punishes you. It's the system. You must understand this and get used to this, because this is what operates in the world. So you must not be oblivious or ignorant of this system. Why the system? 3 reasons. Number 1, there's the pattern. Number 2, there's a structure. And number 3, there's the reward. Even on your job, there's a system. You will see the pattern. You will see the structure. You will see the reward. You know, sometimes when people are dealing with issues, I'm always quick to ask them, this problem, is it a systemic problem? Because there are problems that are systemic. That even if you bring some certain kind of solutions to the problem, the system will destroy the solution because how systemic it is. For instance, you see some people who are honest, have integrity, and they get into the government. And soon enough, they become corrupt, they begin to compromise. What happened? That system has a way it deals with them. That's why it's a system. So it's either you fit in or you are kicked out. That's why it's a system. So you must not be oblivious of this fact to say, oh, it doesn't really. No. There's a system at play. There's a system at play in the world today. And I hope to be able to share some with you and hope that you'll be able to do your own research to understand this. So 3 reasons why the system. There's the pattern, there's the structure, there's the reward. Now, question number 4. What are the benefits of system? What are the benefits of the system? What are the benefits? What do you stand to gain being in the system? The first benefit of the system is that there's order. As much as you may not like the system has order. The system has order. But 2, there's stability. One of the benefits of the system is that it gives a certain kind of stability. And number 3, there's conformity. The goal of the system is to get people to conform. You see, scripture knew about this. That's why Paul was telling Timothy in Romans 12, verse 2, he says, be not conformed to the pattern, talking about system of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, which means the world already has a system. And the world can conform you to its system. The world says if you haven't made money at a certain age, you're a failure. That's conforming you to the system. The world says if you are not married at a certain age, you are failed. That's conforming you to the system. The world says, oh, you go to school, you get a job, you marry, you have your family. That's the pattern for the system. So you must understand this and begin to say, where do I unplug from this system? That's why Paul says, do not be conformed to the patterns of this world. NIV. Do not be conformed to the patterns of this world. Do not be conformed to the systems of this world, but be transformed by how you renew your mind. Because if you don't renew your mind, you will conform to the system. It's that simple. The way out is to unplug. Otherwise, you conform. 3 benefits of the system. Number 1, there's order. Number 2, there's stability. Number 3, there's conformity. Question number 5. When is the best time for the system? I always say this. Last best time for the system was yesterday, and the next best time for the system is now. System is highly operational now. Highly operational in the world today. Highly operational. You know, I jokingly say this and I ask, was it truly global pandemic or global plandemic? Do you get that? Was it truly a global pandemic? What happened in 2020? Or was it a global plandemic? See, I believe it was a plandemic as it was a pandemic because the system is in control. Haven't you noticed that sometimes in movies there's called predictive programming? They are showing you what will happen. You see it happen a lot in The Simpsons. In The Simpsons, right? That show, The Simpsons. You see it happen a lot. It's called predictive programming. They're showing you, you notice that, in The Simpsons, they'll show you what will happen in the future. In the cartoon that's happening now, it's showing you what's happening in the future. It's predictive programming from the system. So you don't resist it when it eventually happens. The Simpsons, the show, has predicted a lot of things and gotten them right. From Donald Trump coming back again as president to 9/11, they predicted a lot of things in the cartoon that was done years ago. And they're playing out now in the future. That's predictive programming from the system. That's why I ask you again, what if everything you have believed to this point is a lie? What if everything you have believed is what the system has designed and programmed you to believe? What if? But you will not even believe because you're already in the system. You won't even believe. But what if? What if? My friend Emmanuel put out a podcast recently, and that's the title. What if everything you have believed is a lie? And I encourage you to go listen to that episode 172 on the Let's Talk podcast with Emmanuel on Wow FM. What if everything you have believed is a lie? Because the system wants you to believe it. Okay, let's get into the system. Let's talk about it because this is something we really need to talk about. See, the system produces more of what it rewards. The system produces more of what it rewards. You see, we have a system in the world that somehow encourages corruption. Now, because of that, it rewards the corrupt. So more people are now being corrupt because that's the system. So you are being talked down because you were not corrupt. And then you are being celebrated because you were corrupt. So you see, the system produces more of what it rewards. The system produces more of what it rewards. Believe it or not, guys, we live in the system. We all live in the system, including myself speaking to you. We all live in the system. We all live in the system. Now, let's get into this conversation on the system. There's a lot that we need to unpack on the system. Let's get into it. THESYSTEM, the system, right? The T talks about thinking. The first thing that the system does to you is that it has a way it changes your thinking. I wouldn't really say it replaces your thinking, but it changes your thinking. Pardon me. The system changes your thinking. So there's some things you would have questioned. The system doesn't allow you to do that. So you just accept it. That's changed your thinking. So the first thing the system does to you is to teach you how to think. And you see, education does that programming successfully. Education doesn't let you think, it teaches you how to think. And when it teaches you how to think, it's directing your thinking. That's why they say you should think, don't think outside the box. Now, later people started saying, okay, think outside the box. And eventually they say, okay, think like there is no box. But the truth is this, the system conditions your thinking. So you only think in a certain way because that's how you are being programmed. The system replaces critical thinking with conditioned thinking. You think you are thinking, but you have been conditioned in your thinking. That's the first thing the system does, because when you truly start to think, you will be liberated. So it conditions your thinking. So you don't have critical thinking, you have conditioned thinking, thanks to the system. That's how it begins. It conditions your thinking. The system begins with thinking. If they think in a certain way, they will speak in a certain way. They will behave in a certain way. So it starts from the thinking. So the T in the system is thinking. The H in the system is humanity. So the system affects humanity. Not just a select few. It affects everybody. All around the world, how did we agree to do a 9 to 5? That working hours must be 9 to 5. See how the system affects humanity. How did we agree that retirement age is 65? Yet in scripture, at 80, Caleb and Joshua were still telling Moses, give us this mountain. We are still very much young as we were 40 years ago to take on this mountain. God called Abraham at 75, which means God called him after retirement age by the system. At 80, that's when God sent Moses to Egypt to go and deliver the people. So how did we arrive at retirement age at 65? The system. System conditions humanity. There's 9 to 5. There's retirement age of 65. There's so many things that the system had conditions us. So the H in the system is humanity. The system is created to affect humanity. I'll say this to you again. Haven't you noticed that education, right, is still operated the way it was 100 years ago? even if life has changed 100 years after. It's a system. It's a system. Affects humanity. Or do you want to talk about health? Pharmaceutical companies that don't actually produce or give you what will heal you, but keep you subscribed to a medication that you take all your life. That's a system. That's a system. Read about the human body. The human body is designed to heal itself. The system doesn't want you to know that. The system wants you to be on drugs and medications for the rest of your life. The system affects humanity. The H in the system is humanity. The E in the system is the expectation. The system has an expectation of everyone in the system because it has conditioned everyone. So there's a certain expectation of everyone in the system. And when you try to get out of the system punishes you. Most of you watch all of these Squid Games and the rest, Hunter Games and the rest. That's how the system operates, but in a game-like fashion, where you say, okay, they are trying to survive and all of that. That's the system in a game. But that's the system. There's certain expectations that the system has put in place for everyone in the system. You cannot outgrow the system. You can only unplug from the system. See, you don't fix the system. You break away from the system. Are you getting that? You don't fix the system. You see, because now you'll be thinking, okay, if the system is like this, what can we fix the system? No. You don't fix the system. You break away from the system. And how do you break away? You break away when you wake up, when you opt out, and when you build alternative. That's how you break away from the system. Otherwise, system will hold you down for the entirety of your life. To hold you down. That's why it is the system. It is the system. See, this is not like the regular conversations we've been having. So I want you to have an open mind to this. Literally. Have an open mind to this. The S in the system is style. The system has a style. The system has a style that it operates with. It has a style. Remember I told you, system has a pattern. It has a pattern. It has a style it operates with. It has its modus operandi. It has a style. It has a format that it uses. The Y in the system is you. From birth, you have been programmed into the system. The only way out is to unplug. Because from birth, you have been in several conditionings from birth. You know, they say when you are born, you're a free slate, you're a clean slate. Nothing is written on you yet. But as you start to grow, you are being programmed with a lot of things. You are being programmed with a lot of things. That's the system doing its programming in you. So the Y system is you, because the system programs you to align and conform to the system. The other S in the system is that the system is very strict. Strict. The system doesn't give you options. It's very strict. You either do it the system way or no other way. Very strict. Very strict. System punishes those who try to rebel against it. Very strict. It deals with those who try to question it. It's very strict. The system is very strict. Because when people see that others have been punished, they would not want to do what to make them be punished. That's the system for you. Very strict. The T in the system is that it transforms you. The you that you know, the system changes you. The same way the word transforms you, so also the system transforms you. You'll be shocked that you that thought you were honest, you have been compromised. It's the system that transforms you. It's the system. You that felt you'll never be involved in some certain things, but now you are doing those same things. It's the system. It transforms. It transforms. The E in the system is exposure. The system will expose you to a lot of things. And like I told you, exposure affects perspective. There are certain things you are exposed to, your perspective starts to change. The system does that. It gives exposure. Because with that exposure, your perspective is being changed. So the E in the system is exposure. It gives you a certain kind of exposure, which alters your perspective. And finally, the M in the system talks about method. System has its methods. System has its method. It doesn't just do things anyhow. The same way it has its style, same way it has its methods. System doesn't leave things to chance. It has its methods. So guys, this is what the system is. And when you understand this, it begins to help you to unplug from the system. Because the truth is, all of us have been plugged into the system. It's now we are waking up and then unplugging ourselves from the system. When you watch the movie The Matrix, you see that at some point, Neo is plugged into a machine. And then Neo is living his life in the machine. And then at some other point, he's unplugged from the machine. That's the same way many of us have been plugged into the system with so many programming. So now we have to reprogram ourselves and unplug from the system. Have you ever wondered why you believe the things you believe? Have you ever wondered why? Why you believe the things you believe? I told you earlier about the pandemic. The most recent is the one in 2020. Not many people pay attention to the system at all. Not many. People are just living their lives. They're just going about their day. That's what the system does, to make you not even to think that it exists. You know, that's the highest level of stealth. You don't even know that it's there, or it's there, and it's very functional. And you can even argue that it doesn't exist, but it's there, and it exists. That's the system, guys. This is the system. Thinking, humanity, expectation, style, you, strict, transform, exposure, method. This, my friends, is the system. Now, I told you earlier, you don't fix the system. You break away from the system. And that is possible when you wake up, you opt out, and you build alternative. That's the only way. Otherwise, you find yourself coming back into the system. Coming back into the system. Now, look at this. 3 things about the system. Number 1, control. Number 2, power. Number 3, money. These 3 things defines the system. There's control, there's power, there's money. The system has control. The system has power. And the system has money. These 3 things, very present in every system. Very present. You see it in all the spheres of influence. These 3 things. In anywhere there is a system, you will find these three things. There's control, there's power, there's money. And there are two traits of the system. When you see these two traits, you know that this is the system in full swing. This is the system in play. Two traits of the system. Number one, distraction. See, the system is so good with distracting you that you don't even know that you are being distracted. I'll say that again. The system is so good at distracting you that you don't even know that you are being distracted. That's how good the system is. You don't even know. You just say, okay, it's normal, not really special, it's just that. That's the work of the system. It thrives in distraction. You don't pay attention to what you should pay attention to. How can you even pay attention when your thinking has already been altered? Your thinking has been altered. Your speaking has been changed. Your action will be definitely go in line with what has been changed. So two traits of the system. One, distraction. Two, obedience. The system causes you to obey. It compels you to obey. It conforms you to obey. So you see, there's distraction and obedience as the two traits of the system. The system won't let you just stand up and walk away. No, it conditions you to obey. It keeps you in. That's the system for you. You must obey. You must obey. You see, when we do those experiments where you say, okay, they put some monkeys in a cage and they put banana and they put a ladder, and any monkey that climbs up to want to take the banana, they will pour cold water on the other monkeys. So over time, the monkeys now notice that whenever somebody wants to get the banana, that's why they pour cold water on them. So whenever they see any monkey trying to approach the ladder to get the banana, the monkeys themselves beat up that monkey. That's what the system can do. Two traits of the system: distraction, obedience. The one goal of the system is conformity. All the system is about is to get you to conform. And that's why Paul says in scripture, do not be conformed to the patterns of this world. Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed, but be transformed. Which means if you are not transformed, you have already conformed. There's no two way about it. If you are not being transformed, you are already being conformed. If you are not transformed by the word, you're already being conformed to the word. That's why Paul says, do not conform. Because the ability for you to conform is very high. The chances of you to conform is very high. So he said, do not conform to the patterns, the systems of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You see what I tell you about that? The system begins with your thinking. The system captures you in your thinking first. Because as a man thinks, so he is. Are you getting this? See this, guys. See this. The goal of the system is conformity and control. It conforms you, it controls you. That's the goal of the system. That's the goal of the system. Conformity and control. And this is why you must break away from the system so you can regain control and you can be transformed. See, unfortunately, the system defines what is true. That's why I tell you, what if everything you have believed as true is a lie? Because the system defines what is true. Who really won the world wars? Who really won them? Who writes history? See, There's some things that I will share with you, and you'll be wondering, no wonder. Yes, because the system defines what is true. Let me give you one that will make you really just laugh, right? He said Mungo Park discovered River Niger, right? But it was the indigenes that carried Mungo Park on their shoulders to River Niger. So how did Mungo Park discover where he was carried to? But history has it that Mungo Park discovered River Niger. Are you seeing how the system works? Are you seeing how the system works? Someone was carried to a place. Yeah, that one is acknowledged as one who discovered the place he was carried to. What if everything you believe as true is a lie? Just what if? What if? And that's a big what if. What if everything you have believed as true is a lie? See, the system controls three things. Number one, controls your thinking. And it does that through indoctrination. It teaches you how to think. It controls your thinking. Number two, the system controls the media. It spreads its propaganda. It controls the media. Number three, the system controls history. It rewrites it in its favor. I just told you one. Mungo Park was carried to River Niger by the indigenes, yet it was Mungo Park who discovered River Niger. I seen this. That's the system. The system controls thinking through indoctrination. It controls media through propaganda. It controls history by how it rewrites it to favor it. That's the system. That's the system for you. See, the system fears man's awakening. When people become awake to what really is happening, the system fears it. Like, listen to this conversation now. Yeah, gradually becoming awake. Okay, so this can actually be it. The system fears that. It fears people when they become awake. The system fears people that are self-sufficient, who can do without it. Because the system is conditioning you to feel like you can't do without it in its conditioning. The system fears those who can do without it. People who are self-sufficient. The system are afraid of those people. And the system fears those that they cannot control. Because I told you, the system is all about conformity and control. So they always fear those that they cannot control. They're afraid of those they can't control. It's the system. These are the things that the system fears. They fear mass awakening. People are becoming awake to the truth. It fears people who are self-sufficient. And then it fears those that it cannot control. You know, see this biblical example of how the system works. You know, in Acts chapter 12, when Herod killed James, he saw that he pleased the Jews. So he stretched forth his hand to kill Peter. See how the system works. He killed James. Nothing was done. He went to take Peter, intending to kill him. You see the same thing with Pilate. He brought forth Barabbas and Jesus and demanded of the people who they would want to be released unto them. And the people chose Barabbas. System. See, in the system, understand this. Solo preppers get Solo preppers, you get destroyed. Tribes survive. People who are solo preppers who want to do things on their own against the system, they get crushed. The only people who survive a system are people who are in tribes. Only tribes survive. Solo preppers are crushed. They are destroyed by the system. They are destroyed by the system. See, when you're watching all those gladiator movies, you see the actor in the gladiator movie has a tribe of fighters that are with him. On his own alone, he will be killed. But with that tribe of network, remember Spartan 300, with that tribe of people, they are able to survive. See, solo preppers, the system crushes them. Only tribes survive the system. Only tribes. Romans 12:2, like I told you, NIV, do not conform to the patterns of this world. Do not conform to the system of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. See, the greatest trick that the system ever pulled was convincing the world it doesn't exist. That's the greatest trick that the system ever pulled, to convince the world that the system does not exist. But it exists. The system exists. But it keeps convincing the world that it doesn't exist. But it does. And how do you fight against what you do not know exists? Isn't it? How do you fight and stand against what you do not know exists? Because that's the greatest trick of the system, to make people believe and be convinced that it doesn't exist. But the system exists. System exists. System uses the boiling frog effect. You know, they say if you take a frog and put it in a pot of boiling water, it will come out, it will jump out immediately. The moment the feet hits the boiling water, it will jump out immediately. But if you put the frog in water and then you now put fire on it, it starts boiling gradually. The frog will still remain in the water as the water is getting boiled. As the temperature is increasing, the frog will still be there. It will be adjusting itself to the water until the water boils and it kills it. That is the system. The system keeps you in it, keeps you in it. You are adjusting to the system till it eventually crushes you. That's why the only way out from the system is to unplug. It's not to adjust, it's to unplug. I'll say that again. When it comes to the system, the only way out is not to adjust, it is to unplug. Because like the frog, the more you adjust, the more the system would crush and destroy you. But you have to unplug. You have to unplug. That's the system for you guys. This is something that you need to pay attention to because it's happening all around us in the world. See how the system deals with people. Let me tell you how the system deals with people, because it doesn't want them to be out. This is how the system deals with people. Number one, it labels them as conspiracy theorists. So when people are talking about the system brand those people as conspiracy theorists. Oh, those people are pushing conspiracies. Some of those conspiracies you've ever heard about, go and watch them again or pay attention again. Because the system doesn't want you to pay attention to the things that will liberate you from its clutches. So it labels those people conspiracy theorists. How does the system deal with people? It arrests them. It puts them in confinement. It arrests them. That's the system. They are jailed. They are arrested. That's the system. It's to deal with them, to shut them up. That's the system. Even on social media, they just discovered that their accounts is deleted. That's the system to shut them up. How does the system deal with people? Give them mental health labels. It brandish them as mentally unstable, mentally unfit for society. That's the system. That's the system. How does the system deal with people? Shame and guilt tactics. Make them begin to feel shame and guilt. That's how the system deal with people too. Shame and guilt tactics. How again does the system deal with people? Financial ruin. Your account is frozen. You have no access anymore to your funds. Financial ruin is the system dealing with you. So when you decide to stand up against the system, get ready. The system will fight back. This is how it will fight back. It will label you a conspiracy theorist. It will arrest you. It will label you with mental health issues. It will put shame and guilt upon you. It will ruin you financially. That's the system. That's the system. See, interestingly, and this is the one that will blow your mind. Interestingly, voting, protesting, raising awareness rarely ever changes the system. I'll say that again. Voting, protesting, raising awareness, it rarely ever changes the system. Look at all the protests that are happening in Nigeria. What has changed? Nothing. Nothing. Your vote counts, your vote counts, your vote is your choice, your vote is your voice. What has changed through voting? Nothing. Nothing. Why? The system is rarely changed by voting or protesting. Rarely changed. Rarely changed. On very few occasions, the system can change through it, but it rarely changes the system. Voting, protesting, raising awareness, it rarely changes the system. But funny how the system is hidden in plain sight. It's hidden in plain sight. See, the system produces three types of slavery today. It produces three types of slavery today. Three types. Number one, financial slavery, 9 to 5. Debts, taxes, financial slavery. The system produces financial slavery. Number two, health slavery. You are confined to certain drugs for the rest of your life. Health slavery. The big pharma. Health slavery. Right? You're on medication and subscription drugs for the rest of your life. It's health slavery. And then there is the mental slavery. Through education, you are being indoctrinated. You are being taught what to think, not how to think. You are taught what to think, not how to think. So this is how the system creates three kinds of slavery today: financial slavery, health slavery, mental slavery. Remember Lucky Dube's line? Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. It's part of the system. It's part of the system. Mental slavery. That's what it produces. The movie The Matrix, I recommended that you go watch it. Part 1. Right, go watch that movie again. The Matrix 1. Keanu Reeves. Go watch that movie. It's way back done in the 90s. Go watch that movie again. After you watch this, go watch The Matrix. Download it, watch it again. Your eyes will be open to the system. Neo, Morpheus, Agent Smith. Go watch it. Trinity. Go watch the movie. Go watch the movie. The Matrix. See, the Matrix is a system. In the movie The Matrix, Morpheus says something to Neo. He says, The matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. See this. Those who make up the system, they compete for influence, but collaborate on core beliefs. The people, remember I told you the system is made up by people. The people who make up the system, they compete for influence, but they collaborate on core beliefs. Let me give you some of their core beliefs. They have a core belief on depopulation. Depopulation, to reduce the amount of people on the earth. You see, we have over 8 billion people. They have a core belief to depopulate the earth. They are doing it already through vaccines, through fertility reduction, so that people are not able to give birth to more kids. They are doing it. It's to depopulate the world. They have a core belief on that. They collaborate on that. A core goal is to depopulate the world. Another area where they have a core goal is digital enslavement. Digital enslavement financially. The CBDCs, social credit, and the likes. Digital enslavement financially. They have core goal there. Another core goal they have is centralized AI governance. Centralized AI governance. And that is called the technocratic dictatorship. Centralized AI governance. See, those who truly control the system are hardly ever seen or hardly ever known. They are not politicians. They are not celebrities. They're not even influencers. The real people who control the system, they are hardly ever seen. They are hardly ever known. But they are the ones who control the system. You don't know them, but they exist and they control the system. They're not in the news. They're not in the news. They're not in blogs. They are not on newspapers. They are not on any headlines. But they control the system. They're not even presidents of nations. No. They're not in political offices, but they control the system. See, if you owe more than you own, the system is already winning in your life. I'll say that again. If you owe more than you own, the system is already winning in your life. Remember student loans? You graduate and you keep paying student loans for the rest of your life. It's the system. Remember credit score? Even when you have money, they want you to buy with credit so you can get credit score. It's the system. See, the system cannot enslave a mind that knows that it is free. Do you get that? The system, it cannot enslave a mind that knows that it is free. If the system profits more from your weakness than your strength, you're already being framed. Oh my God. In healthcare, look at this. Yeah. The system promotes pills over prevention. They want you to be taking medication over prevention. That's the system. And there are so many movies that have even shown and explained this, but people don't pay attention to it. One of the biggest frauds globally are the pharmaceutical industry. It's a system. It's a system. Education. Student loans for degrees that do not pay anything, but you keep paying student loans. System. If the system profits more from your weakness than your strength, you are being framed. Health-wise, sells you more medication than it gives you prevention. Education, you're paying for student loans. For all your working life, you're paying for student loans. For food, processed junk food is cheaper than real food. So you are buying junk and eating junk that is causing harm to you. It's the system. Guys, are you seeing this? This is how the system works. If something is abundant but is restricted, the system is creating a false lack. Something is abundance, yet it is being restricted. System is creating a false lack. Very soon they'll be telling you there's short of water supply in the world. Water supply, water supply, oh, water supply. See, the system is an invisible control matrix that governs modern life. Do you get that? The system is an invisible control matrix that governs the modern life. So I told you that the matrix is the system. The system is the matrix. Hey, its mechanism is the mechanism of the system. They are observable, they are documented, and they are predictable. But people don't pay attention. I told you earlier, the pandemic of 2020, which we all, thankfully, we survived. Was it truly a pandemic or a plandemic? I leave that for you to figure it out. Because there's a country that did not quarantine or do anything, and nothing happened to her citizens. I leave that for you to think about. More people died from taking the vaccines than from the coronavirus itself. Was it actually a pandemic or a plandemic? That tells you more about the system. It tells you more about the system. See, can everyone be free from the system? Yes. Everyone can be free from the system. Everyone can be unplugged from the system. But not everyone will be. Can everyone be free from the system? Yes. But not everyone will be free from the system. People will still rather be in the system than to be unplugged from the system. And you see this. Freedom from the system requires awakening. You are awakened to the truth. It requires awakening. It requires efforts that you put in to break away from the system. And it will require sacrifices you have to make, because you are going to cut off from a lot of things so you can be free from the system. But see this. Most people are too comfortable. They have been conditioned and they are afraid to break away from the system. But the truth remains, you can only escape a prison that you see. Remember the series Prison Break? They were actually in a prison and they broke out. That's why it's called Prison Break. You can only escape a prison that you see. The system is a prison, but you don't see it. In the system, it's a prison, but you don't see it. So because you don't see it, it's hard for you to escape from the prison that the system has put you in. And like I tell people, From what I learned from Sean Stevenson, he said the real prison is in the mind. The real prison doesn't have guards or bars, it's in the mind. And this system that we're talking about, it creates a prison and it puts you in that prison. But because you don't see it, you don't break out of the prison. So the truth is, you are a Michael Scofield in Prison Break because you have to break out from the system, from the prison of the system that the system has put you in. You have to break out. See this, guys. The system is real and it exists. And there's nothing you can do about it if you don't break out from it. Nothing. You can't fix the system. You can't fix the system. All you can do is break away from the system. Like I said, you only escape a prison that you can see. And I believe all that I have shared is to open your eyes to see the prison that the system has already put you in. Why you need to break free from it. So, guys, I believe you have learned something from this. I believe that you are more equipped now to break out from whatever system you have put yourself in or life has put you in already. So you really can be free. Like I keep saying all through this session, what if everything you have believed is a lie? Just what if? 3 things will happen for you in this new week. Like we always say, 3 things will happen for you in this new week. Number 1, increased voice of God. Number 2, open heavens over your life. Number 3, more angelic activities in all that you do. Remember, there's always more on the upgrade side of life. That's why we encourage you that you leave good behind so that you can upgrade. What better way to upgrade? To become more aware of the system. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Do well to share this with your friends, your family, your loved ones, and even your enemies so that they too can break away from the system. Love you guys. God bless you.